Everybody wants life to be greater, but almost all of us get stuck at times where something stops us. Something prevents us from doing something that we really are capable of doing, whether it's turning around our body or shifting a relationship or turning around our finances or maybe just being happy and fulfilled at a different level. We get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern, just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed. Sometimes we get stuck, not so much in anything but some habits of doing things a certain way. And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening, and the opening can come from a conversation, that can come from meeting somebody that inspires you. It can come from insight. It can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of something that snapped us and made us look at life through a different filter, in a different way. And it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says no more, I'm gonna change this, and suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way, or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make this shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve. Think about it in your own life. How could you have some area of your life where you raise your standard and your life has never been the same? Maybe at one time in your life you smoked cigarettes, or you did something and you did it for years and you kept trying to change it and kept telling yourself I should. And then one day something happened. Something just clicked you over. Something took you over that kind of tipping point, and inside yourself, you said no more. It was a very, very different experience, wasn't it? Something inside of you shifted, and what was a should become a must, and you've never gone back. Is there an area like that in your life? You can think of. Everybody wants to change. Nobody wants to do it. Everybody, I should say, wants progress, but nobody wants to change. Everybody wants your life better, but nobody wants to do the push-ups. The running has an economic or emotional discipline to make it happen. But if you're watching this right now and you're still with me, some part of you wants more, and I'm saying to you, choose it on the way you're gonna choose. It is really simple. If you're in that crisis, what keeps you in the crisis is probably because you're being reinforced. No. There have been areas in your life where some point in time, you just shifted and you raised the standard. Your life changed because whatever people have their identity attached, they live. We live who we believe we are. That's just how it works. Most people overeat, or they smoke, or they drink, or they yell at people. They keep doing it because they're rewarded. Whatever it gets rewarded, gets reinforced. Whatever habit or behavior is reinforced, it comes as a habit. And then pretty soon do it long enough to become a part of personality. And pretty soon you think it's who you are, and you just keep living that way. I mean, it's easy to see this in other people, right? It's easy to see how messed up they are and how easy they couldn't. They just make some new choices. All you got to just turn on the television, some news programs, entertainment programs, and you'll hear detailed descriptions about some person who is a very powerful celebrity who is doing some stupid things. Why do we see all the stuff on television? Why do we hear about every person you could imagine? From Lindsay Lohan to Britney Spears to all the way back to the old days? It was Elvis or Michael Jackson or whoever it is that's in the news. Today, in this stage of life in your country, you're watching this. It's because we want to see other people who make bad decisions so we can feel better about our own. But the reason those people don't change, Lindsay Lohan, she's got another do why. She's putting herself at risk. She's putting other people, or she could kill someone. She goes to jail, is supposed to be 90 days, but here's the consequence. It goes to 2 weeks on before she even gets out of jail. She makes a deal for an interview and gets paid $1 million. When she gets out for the interview, what do you think? The chances of her changing when her bad behavior gets her $1 million, and I don't know if she even makes that for that much time of acting at this stage. What do you think the chances are when people around her say, it's not your fault? It's not fair. They treat you unfairly as long as we have the decision that we're not responsible, it's not our fault. We can't change anything. We have no power, so don't know about time. You watch this if Lindsay will change, but if she did it because the enabler's era's gone, she's taken responsibility and she's found something she values more than attention and money for bad behavior. That was easy to look at that with her. But what about you and I? Were you and I addicted to our problems? Were you and I reinforced so many people will have a big problem? Listen, if things were going well, you say it's going so great, your friends go, well, that's great. And after a while, they go, well, easy for you. But if you got a problem, people, hey, I understand and connect with you. Where do we get addicted to our problems? If you want to make a new choice, if you want to make a new decision today, if you want to have a breakthrough in some area of life, you have to give up the story that it's not your fault, and you got to give up the attention and love and the connection and commiserating that comes with it with other human beings. When you start to connect your true nature, suddenly there's energy available for you to set a higher standard for what you want in your life. That's what this is really all about. And when I talk about standards, when I talk about, should versus must, think about your own life. One of the key little subjects we talk about on the weekend is the 7 fundamentals for wealth and happiness. That's one of them. Well, planned economics. It's fundamental if you want to do well, join the top 5%. Anybody in this room can join the top 5%. If you will make a list of the things you want, and on my list of things now I put everything, little things as well as major things. Doesn't matter how small it is. It goes on my list. I used to just put major things, cars, homes. I don't do that anymore. I now load my list with everything. Everything, and the reason is part of the fun of having a list is checking it off. That's it, boy. At the end of the day, if you could go, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it, got it. Whatever it is, right, you get into the habit. So load up your list. The things you want. Now, when you check off something major, celebrate. That's an important point to make. Celebrate your achievements. Live it up. Have a party when you reach something you've worked for a while. See, we all grow from 2 experiences. One is called the pain of losing. The other one is called the joy of winning. We need both of them. Amplify him as much as you can, which also means make losing painful. If you set up something, fooled around, didn't get it, put it on yourself on the other side. If you did get it, congratulate yourself. Self-congratulation is a sign of maturity. Seeking congratulations is a sign of immaturity, but hey, winning and losing. See, that's what it's all about. That's the name of the game now. Some people lead such mediocre lives. At the end of the day, they don't know whether they're winning or losing. They got no clue, guy's just going through the day with his fingers crossed. Okay, here's the third category of goals. Personal development. Put those goals together. Personal development goals. That's your goal. To be stronger, more decisive. Be a speaker, be a leader, learn a language, all kinds of skills. The whole weekend seminar was designed to improve all your skills so that you walk away more skillful, and that's what you want. Personal development skills. That's what attracts. That's what brings good things to your life. The person, you become more skillful. Look at these 2 men. Do you know who they are? Most people don't. They're just a couple of ordinary guys. One, they're both gone now. But one was an ordinary beekeeper in Auckland, New Zealand, and the other a Sherpa guide from over around Nepal. Now there's Mount Everest. You know, for thousands of years, people have tried to get to the top of Mount Everest. People died doing it. It was believed it couldn't be done. People tried, but they didn't know how. And so they quit. There's a closer look at the mountain and where they placed their flag. They planted that flag in the mountain. Now, this is the 2 of them after they come down the mountain, and you know something. When they started, they did not know how, they didn't know how to get to the top of the mountain. And that's what stops most people, because they don't know how. As little kids we'd go, "Mummy, Daddy, I want this," and they say, How are you going to do that? It was a little kid. You don't know how to do it. But they did it in 1953 on the 29th of May. They were the first to get to the top of that mountain. They stood right on top of the world. You know, there have been over 1,000 people do it since then. I watched a young woman on Canadian television being interviewed, not very big. She had just come back from going to the top of Mount Everest and the reporter asked her. They said, "How does it feel now that you conquered the mountain?" We didn't conquer the mountain. That mountain can be conquered. We conquered the limitations that are within ourselves. Be prepared, understand. Put yourselves in the shoes of the people or the businesses that you're working with. The message that I just got on Cyberdust is a perfect example. If he would have put himself in my shoes, it would be obvious that Cyberdust is important to me. I'm trying to push everybody to message using it. I've volunteered, and Dave mentioned that hey, I'm gonna be answering questions long after this is over from you people from everybody sending me messages. So Cyberdust is obviously important to me. And so if you're able to do something that reflects something that's important to me or whoever it is that you're working or trying to get a job where they're trying to get an internship with. We're trying to get an investment from if you can put yourself in their shoes and put yourself in the context of what's important to them. Your chances of being successful increase 99% of 1,000 feet right. And one other point I'll leave with you right, if you're working for somebody, the best way to be successful is by reducing the stress of those around you. Yeah, it's not about you. It's always about me, but that's a different point. But it's not about you. So what? The people around you. If you're reducing the stress of the people around you, those are the people. Those people start to gravitate towards you. They want to work with you because you make going to work easier, more pleasant. You help them accomplish their goals. You help put them in a position to succeed by reducing their stress. Yeah.
I really came close once, about 3 years ago. She was pretty, tall, trim. We both liked movies. I liked football, and she didn't mind football that much, so that was okay. But I really wanted to be sure we were doing the right thing. You know, marriage is such a big step. It's a lifelong commitment. So we were talking about the future, what our life might be like. And just like that, she said a couple of things that really bothered me. So I wanted to make double sure I was marrying the right girl. So I went home one night and I wrote down all the things that I wanted our relationship to be. I spelled everything out really clearly. I mean, I really thought this thing through. Religion, children, where we'd live, who our friends would be. Because I didn't want there to be any doubts or misunderstandings. I wanted it to be clear. I even mentioned a couple of her bad habits. I thought it'd be a good idea if she had just a little constructive criticism. Well, the next time we got together, I brought this document out, and I thought that we would have a nice, easy conversation about it. And you couldn't believe her reaction. She blew up. I couldn't believe it. She told me straight where to go, and she called our engagement off right then and there. She actually said, "I don't need a boss, George, so just forget it." And you know, in thinking back, maybe I did go a little overboard. But it just seems to me that making that big a decision, you can't be too careful, right?
Wrong, George. Absolutely wrong. You can be too careful. In fact, you were too careful. The test of a successful person is not the ability to eliminate all problems before they arise, but rather to meet and work out difficulties when they do arise. We must be willing to make an intelligent compromise with perfection, or else we will wait forever, because conditions will never be right. Cross bridges when you come to them, not before.
About 2 years ago, my wife and I lived in an apartment, one of those places out in the suburbs. It wasn't too big, but it was kind of nice. But it really cost a mint to rent, $750 a month, which was a lot, and we've been kind of saving up some money to buy a place of our own, knowing that that would take a long time. But what would happen is every time I made out the rent check, I thought, no, there's got to be a better way. This is not what I want to be doing. So one day when I was making out the rent check, I said to my wife, I said, Susan, let's go buy a place of our own. And she looked at me and she said, well, yeah, we can't do that. We've only got $6,000 in the bank. We need at least twice that much to make a down payment. And I said, well, there's got to be a way to do this. I mean, people buy houses all the time. And why don't we just go for it and see if we can make it happen? So she said, okay, let's give it a try. And we started to look for places. We looked for about a week or so and came up with a nice place that we needed $15,000 to make a down payment for, which meant we needed to come up with another $9,000. It turned out we couldn't borrow the money from a bank. We went around to all of our banks, and we're kind of stuck for a bit, but then, see, it was a new house, and I thought I could go to the builder and maybe he could loan it to me. And I did, and he went with the idea. And that meant we only had to come up with another $450 a month to pay back this loan, because we had to pay it back over a 2-year period. And we sat down and redid our budget and squeezed another $200 out of it. So we needed to find another $250. And then Susan had an idea. She said, well, wait a minute, I can maybe go talk to my boss, because he's advertising for another part-time person. And she did. She explained the situation. We needed another $250, and she knew he couldn't afford to give her a raise, but if she could do this other job, he would get a good employee, we could get the money, and everybody be happy. Well, the guy was so surprised, he said, yeah, let's do it, let's go for it. So we did it. Everybody was happy. We're paying the house off now. We're living in a nice place. And I guess where there's a will, there is a way.
Jim and Susan get A's for action on this one. They didn't let obstacles stand in their way, and they didn't wait for things to be just right before they acted. They decided they wanted something, and they went for it. The resolution to take action ignited their minds to think of ways to accomplish their goals. On top of that, they both gained tremendously in new confidence. It'll be much easier for both of them to take action in future situations.
Both of these examples point up the benefits of action. You give your ideas value by acting on them. Again, regardless of how good an idea is, it is useless until you act on it. A good idea not acted upon brings tremendous psychological pain, but a good idea acted upon brings enormous mental satisfaction and peace of mind.
You cannot get people to believe in your dream until you believe in it yourself. Stop asking people to invest in things where you have no investment. Nobody's going to put into your dream before you put in. You have to invest in what you dream for.
It was my dream. It was my goal. I don't expect you to believe in my dream like I believe in my dream. And the problem with some of y'all is you want somebody else to support your dream. It's yours. It's your dream. If you want it to happen, get your butt up and make it happen. If you want it to happen, rise and grind.
I have never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you commit to it, it will come to pass.
Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
When you have a dream, it doesn't often come at you screaming in your face, this is who you are, this is what you must be for the rest of your life. Sometimes a dream almost whispers. And I've always said to my kids, the hardest thing to listen to, your instincts, your human personal intuition, always whispers, it never shouts. Very hard to hear. So you have to, every day of your lives, be ready to hear what whispers in your ear. It very rarely shouts. And if you can listen to the whisper, and if it tickles your heart, and it's something you think you want to do for the rest of your life, then that is going to be what you do for the rest of your life, and we will benefit from everything you do.
Anybody can dream it, but you'll never see it until you're willing to be committed to it. I was telling somebody the other day, we worked when we didn't have food. We worked when we didn't have lights. I was putting my whole check in the offering, all of it, trying to keep it going. When I finally got some staff, I went on the road preaching. And whatever I made on the road preaching, I brought it home to make the payroll of the staff. And sometimes I got them paid and couldn't pay me. Commitments. Looked like a fool. Didn't have any clothes. Suits was falling off me. They laughed at me. Looked like an old raggedy country preacher. I had holes in my shoes. I couldn't kneel down and pray because if I knelt down to pray, they would see holes in my shoes. They laughed at me. They said that boy's lost his mind. He'll never be nothing. He stutters. He's got a lisp when he speaks. He'll never be a preacher. I don't care what you say. If you are committed to what you believe, you'll never, never, never bring down somebody who is committed.
There's so much knowledge out there, so much information, so many ways to get better, and we make so many mistakes. We're the product of our mistakes.
Everyone starts to blame other people for their problems. Well, I can't succeed because of racism or xenophobia or homophobia, some of which might be legitimate. You are the master of your own destiny. It starts with making your bed in the morning, being the best version of yourself, and being a champion of the decisions you make.
Your breaking point is your breakthrough point.
If God can remove something from your life that you never dreamed of losing, can't you trust Him to bring something new and better in your life that you never dreamed of?
Oftentimes the lesson is sitting there right in front of our face. It's there to be learned, but we miss it, or we don't pay attention to it, or we think we know better until it punches us in the face. And the most important thing to learn is that we have so much to learn. We all do. And we can learn from school and from people and from experience, and we learn from life. But you have to process the information. You have to absorb it. You have to accept it. You have to open your mind. You gotta free your mind so that you can learn and make real progress.
At some point, you have to learn that life is about what's possible for you right here, right now. It's about how high you can jump today, not where you fell yesterday. If you're going to live fully, this is the correct attitude, right here, right now. So what's the problem? Why do we run away from the moment? Why does the moment terrify us? It's supposed to be simple. From this point right here, right now, you can create the rest of your life. The decision in the moment to change. But it's not that simple. It's not that easy to just capture the moment. The reason it's so hard to capture the moment is because the moment is always dragging along the past or preparing for a future. The moment, for most people, is either depressing, that is when the past is tagging along, or it's riddled with anxiety, that's when you can't trust the future. Depression and anxiety, where you came from and where you're going, are constantly spoiling the moment.
You got to become a risk taker. Viscott said if you're not willing to risk, you can't grow. And if you can't grow, you can't become your best. And if you can't become your best, you can't be happy. And if you can't be happy, then what else is there? You know what? I saw Dr. Norman Vincent Peale 23 years ago. But for 13 years, I wouldn't take the chance. For 13 years, I was living in my comfort zone. For 13 years, I kept saying, I can't do that. There's an old African proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm.
You get one shot at this gig right here. Life. One life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge that you gained. But walking around filled with regret gets you nothing. So, learn and move on. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No. Let it teach you. Let it make you better.
When you are trying to get to the next level, and you can see where you're trying to get to, there is a ceiling that you have to break through. But in order to get to the next level, it's because you can see what you want to become. But the only reason you can see the next level is because this ceiling is made of glass. In order to get to the next level, you must be willing to break through the glass. Anytime you break through glass, you are going to get cut. You are going to bleed. And in order to get to the next level, you are going to have to give up something that you care about. You cannot take everything with you. See, all your friends, they can't go to the next level because they'll get up there with you, and the way they behave, they'll mess it up for you. The cut is going to put some bruises and blood. But that's the only way to get to the next level. I understood that. I knew that I could not remain the same and change. You got to grow. You can't hang out with everybody you've been hanging out with to go to the next level. You can't do everything you used to do. If you do that, you'll never grow.
If you're going to be successful, you have to take risks. I have never known a successful person that didn't come to the line, didn't come to the edge, and then have to weigh this whole situation. Should I go forward? Or should I stay in the safety zone, in the comfort zone? And what I have known is every successful person has been daring. They've put, at times, their reputation at risk. They at times have put their time at risk. They at times have put their money at risk. I'm not talking about foolish throwing things to the wind. No, no, no. I'm talking about the fact that if you want to be better than average, you've got to get out of the average comfort zone that most people are in. The financial rewards of life are determined usually by the risks that we take to have them. Most of the people that do well because they reached far.
You still have a dream of living your perfect life, but you failed at it twice, and you've lost some good friends already in the process. What are you going to do? This is what the moment feels like. It comes sometimes in a rush. It comes suddenly, but when the moment comes, what are you going to do? This is what right here and right now looks like. It doesn't happen outside of your fears or your doubts or anxieties. The moment happens with your fears. It happens with your doubts and with your anxieties. And these things are asking you, what are you going to do? The people who make it in this world are the people who arrive at the moment. They feel the fear and they step forward anyway. They feel the doubt and they reach anyway. They feel the anxiety. The anxiety for them is real, it's engulfing, but they take a leap anyway. You can run from it. You can try to hide. But 5 years from now, after you've missed opportunity after opportunity, after more things have broken in your life, after pain has turned into suffering, you'll arrive again at the moment, where it's not about where you came from or what happened to you, or about the future you can't control. When you get there again, what are you going to do? Because the moment is all you get. Right here, right now, is all you really have. What's possible for you right here, right now? Whatever that is, go after it now.
Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today, now. To take action now to become a better person. Not filled with regret, but filled with knowledge. Filled with knowledge and strength and power and filled with life.
No matter how disguised the urge, everybody wants to do something extraordinary. Everybody wants to be the hero of their story. And everybody has a dream, a vision of what's possible for them, despite the circumstances. I've discovered that some people can take a dream and turn it into an unbelievable reality, while others take that same thing, that dream, and turn it into an absolute failure. You see, it's easy to say, I have a dream. That's easy. You can say that when the enthusiasm is there. You can say that when your friends are still with you. You can say that when you have enough money in the bank. But I'm telling you, it's hard to say, I still have a dream. I still have a dream. Can't you say that after your phone stops ringing? Can't you say that after your friends turn on you? And after the people that you're doing it for stop believing in you? Can you stand up and say, I still have a dream? Dream chasing isn't for the serious, it's for the sincere. And the difference between being serious and being sincere is that serious people have a can-do attitude, but sincere people have a must-do attitude. That's how dreams become reality. They become a must. My children must survive. My life must change. My diet must improve. There's something about that attitude that's transformative. And sincere people understand it. They understand that your dreams can shape-shift on you. You thought your dream was setting you up for something over there, but no, it's dragging you over here into this corner.
These thoughts that we have, we think there are thoughts, so it makes it really hard to change them. When people meditate and try to not think thoughts, show me somebody who's done that successfully, consistently. Is it bullshit? Right? Everybody, the mind thinks thoughts. But here's the distinction. If I told you 100 years ago we're going to fly to the moon and back, you would call me a lunatic. That's where the term comes from. People still use it, and it doesn't make any sense, because a lunatic is somebody who thought we go to the moon and back and we've done it, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where the term comes from. That's where it comes from. But if I would have told you 100 years ago that there's going to be a box in your pocket, and you're going to pull this thing out, you're going to hit a couple buttons, and then it's going to capture invisible waves that are drifting around the earth and bring the waves in, and you're going to see somebody on the other side of the earth and you're going to talk to them, you're totally nuts. Thoughts are those invisible waves. And when you use your body in a certain way, if I sit like this, I'm going to tap into a different channel of those waves than if I'm sitting like this. kind of like a TV set. If I turn one channel, it might be a comedy channel. I'm going to see a lot of laughter. Turn another one, it's a horror channel. Turn another channel, it's a romance channel. This is what changes which of those waves you touch in. So if you can start to realize that your thoughts that you think are your thoughts, there's nothing unique about your thoughts. They've been around for thousands of years. You're just tapping into them because of what you're doing with your body that makes you either fearful or passionate or courageous or whatever you're feeling. As you go in those states, you get different thoughts. So what I want people to see is that learn how to just see those thoughts go by. Learn how to be entertained by those thoughts. Because I have crazy thoughts, but what I've gotten good at is going, look at that crazy thought. That's not me, that's the mind. Not your mind, because if it's you, how do you change you? Pretty hard. But I really truly know I haven't heard a thought come out of you that's original. You've called them your thoughts, but they're not. You've stolen them. They've been around forever. When you see that, it's easier to let go of them. And letting go of those thoughts is one of the ways that you free yourself. And again, the more you do it, just like a muscle, you get better and better and better. And all of a sudden, they used to make you crazy or stressed out. I'm like, how many things have you worried about that never came to be? And some people, their life is good, so they worry about other people. So they're never not worried, right? So it's really just a pattern. If you want wealth, real wealth is not just money. It's emotion. It's like, what are we really after in money? You don't want money. You don't want pieces of paper with the pictures of deceased notables on it. You want what you think money will give you. You think it'll give you freedom or security or stability or love. It won't give you love. It'll get you sex. It won't get you love. Money won't, right? So really what you're after is the emotion. And so what I want people to get is the emotion they want now. And all it is a new habit. It's learning to discipline this mind, right? By realizing the mind thoughts are out there and letting them float by and constantly coming back to what can I love about this? What can I appreciate? It's like, if you can learn to love or at least appreciate, start to enjoy the things that you used to get upset about, how much freedom would you have? How much more joy would you have? And I know people who got billions of dollars, I've coached them, who is like, holy they live in scarcity all the time. One man I'll never forget, he's screaming at his wife. I'm in the meeting, I'm in the house, and he's screaming at his wife because she spent some money on a bunch of outfits and stuff like that. And he's a multi-billionaire. He couldn't spend all his money in his lifetime, and then he's totally upset at his daughters in her 20s who spent some money too. And I'm like, I pulled him aside afterwards and I said, what do you do this for? And what do you do it for? And he's like, well, it's the principal thing. I said, no, the principal thing is, do you love these people and do you want them to have an abundant life when you don't have one loss, but you live like you're poor, you know? And it's like, I finally got through to him. But so many people, that's why I say money doesn't change you. Money magnifies who you are. So you want to expand the depth of who you are and free yourself from suffering by just knowing it's a pattern of thought and you can change the pattern of thought.
The fascinating opportunity that we have now is that the ability to define new values, to distribute goods, to make decisions has never been greater, right? Technology allows us to measure things in such more intricate ways. Like, if you can imagine in the past, someone says, let's make a decision other than money. It's like, okay, well, what are we looking at? What are we counting here? It's hard to say. But in the book, I give an example of Adele, the pop star Adele. She goes on tour. When her tickets go on sale, they immediately get bought by scalpers, and then people have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars more. Adele found this startup that had built an algorithm that would measure how loyal a fan was to her as an artist. It analyzed their listening data, whatever, and allowed her to invite the top 20 percentile Adele fans in each market, offer them a ticket for $50. They could resell the ticket if they want, and the show's still, Adele made money. But the idea was that for maximizing for this loyal communal value set, that there would be a different kind of experience. And in 1970, the percentage of incoming college freshmen who said being well off financially was essential or very important was just 28%. just 28%. That year, the number one life goal was to, quote, develop a meaningful philosophy on life. 84% of students said that was essential. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? The most recent year the study came out, 2017, the biggest life goal among college freshmen, to be rich. 82% say that is essential. Less than half say that having a philosophy on life is essential anymore. And if you look at these numbers over 50 years, every year it's surveyed, 50, 60 million students have taken this. Like, every value is flat. Like, having a family stayed the same. Being creative stayed the same. Being good at your job, those rates have stayed the same. It's this growth of being rich that has just really, it's shocking when you look at it. It's just like, just a straight up and to the right line. So just our whole value system has really shifted dramatically. And, but you know, it's hard to recognize the water you swim in.
I think the fundamental step that everybody should be taking every day for many aspects of their health, mental, physical, digestive, immune, all of that, is to get 2 to 10 minutes of bright light first thing in the morning on waking. Ideally it's sunlight. You could do it through a window. If you probably shouldn't wear sunglasses while you do it. Don't stare at the sun until you burn your retinas out or something and make it painful. Please don't do that. But just getting bright light exposure first thing in the morning organizes the nervous system and the rest of the organs of the body in such a powerful way that I feel like if you do that most days, if you miss a day, no big deal. But if you do that most days, you're setting yourself on the path to do all the other sorts of things correctly, and your biology will thank you for it.
You know, we have coaches, and we have mentors, teachers. This is coming Friday. We're all getting together via Zoom, and we're going to study Robert Kennedy Jr., you know, what he's saying about Bill Gates versus, vaccine. I'm not a vax guy, but we get together to study together. We're always studying. We study constantly. We read books together and all this. And when we have people, I'm not interested in studying, then you're not our friend. It's that simple. I mean, it's pretty clear. Just like in the Marine Corps, when we're at sea on a carrier, we have to run 4 miles a day, no matter what. So we get on the aircraft carrier deck and we take laps. Now, I'd rather go sit in the coffee room and smoke a cigarette and drink coffee. But my team ran together. So when we crashed, we were ready. And that's what leadership is. You have to bring people together and move them forward. It's really sad, a lot of days, there are days on missions, I stand on the deck and my friends don't come back. That's no return. They're missing in action today. And so those are the kinds of lessons where you test your soul. How strong is your soul? And we all have them. But most of us don't ever put ourselves in the situation where we're testing our soul. And we all have it. I know that. I've seen young men and women just get stronger and stronger and more resilient. What you're calling anti-fragile vitality. But most of those things are just buzzwords, glib buzzwords, Everybody, oh yeah, against the fourth turning and this crap and that crap. And then just show me the money. Show me your money, show me your team. Did this crash destroy you or did it make you better? So right now, I'm making money hand over fist for the same reason, prepared for it.
My advice to you on that is don't try to deny it. Your mind will always play from a position of safety, not excellence. And so acknowledge it, write it down and say, okay, this will never work. This is horrible. I suck. I'm not good. Write it down. But then open up another piece of paper and say, okay, I wrote down all the reasons that this might fail. Now let me write down all the reasons that this might succeed. and then take those two pieces of paper and look, and you choose which one you want to follow.